The first baseball field I ever played on was just down the road from the elementary school, pushed up against a bank on the Cahaba River. The infield dirt had little pebbles embedded in it that would tear your pants and scrape your elbows when you slid into a base, and the outfield grass was mainly tall weeds, but my friends and I didn't care. The game was entirely too much fun to worry about aesthetics, especially since we were about 5 years old. What we did care about, however, were the mosquitoes. It was muggy down by the river, and the mosquitoes buzzed around in hundreds, seemingly. If you didn't have a small bottle of Cutter, you were up the creek, so to speak. I remember being on my first team, the White Sox, with Paul Finley and Tyler Bryant, two of the better ball players I knew growing up. Their dads coached us. Mr. Finley was quite the coach, teaching us all kinds of neat stuff that would prove beneficial as we moved up to tougher leagues. I later found out from Paul that his dad had once said I possessed the best defensive fundamentals he had ever seen in a young player. Mr. Bryant was good, too, but he was more carefree. We called him Uncle Buck, and still do when we see him from time to time, driving around town in his truck. Buck was as down-home as one could get, a real redneck who always seemed to have a bag of David's sunflower seeds and watched NASCAR religiously on Sundays. I don't remember now the positions we played on that team, but Paul would become one of the most consistent hitters and solid second basemen I ever played with. Tyler, a lefty, focused on pitching from an early age, and I know he struck me out a few times in later years with that sweeping curveball. We still have home movies of those White Sox games, my parents even playing in the outfield some. Our games weren't too serious since we were all so little, so inexperienced. We've still got pictures from my first baseball season. Dad in those ridiculous blue jean shorty shorts men used to wear, Mom sporting glasses that mirrored those of the late Harry Carey, the famous American baseball broadcaster. Even my little brother, David, who was just a baby at the time, shows up in some of the pictures, sleeping like a log in his stroller. My grandparents and great-uncle sat with him, watched him, while we played the games. Whether we won, lost, tied, made spectacular diving catches or boneheaded throwing errors, we all got suckers after the games, our choice of flavor. How sweet it was, really, to play a game so fun and get candy for our efforts.